So we are into our second stage of data collection, which is data mapping, also known as spatial analysis. And what I do is I plant all the data that I've collected on Google Maps to see where the property sits in with respect to other properties around it. What price the property is with respect to other properties that are around it. And there are four main websites that you can actually use. Uh, I mean, they are all free. For for limited features, they're all free. But if you want extensive features, you've got to pay more. There was another one called Nearmap. I haven't included it in here because Nearmap is now a paid website. It used to be free, but not anymore. So you've got to pay a lot of money for it. But it's actually a good website. It gives you really current photos, more current than what Google Apps does. Google Maps does. So we'll start with that. If you're a Mac user, there's also maps available as an app in your computer. I have never used them. It's the first time I actually opened them to show you guys that you can use something like this, but I don't think you can import a lot of data into this, so we're just gonna get rid of it. The other side is Whereas you can put in your address, it'll show you the address, it'll show you what the amenities around it are, and you can have a look at nearest petrol station, nearest restaurant, all that stuff. So that's one side. I use it quite often. Another site that I use is streetdirectory.com.au. I think it uses the old Melway or Sidway maps. So you can check it out in your own time. This is another site that you can use, BadGeo. I think it's got a pro pricing model, but if you've got small data that you can copy paste in here, and they show you, they want example address, city, state, zip, name, phone number, and all that stuff. You can just copy paste from Excel, and it'll map it on your it'll put it on Google Maps, but it's very limited to what you can do with it with the free version. It's good. I've used it. Used the free version a lot before Google Apps actually came up with. Google Maps actually. I keep saying Google Apps. Google Maps actually came out with the Pro version of their Maps engine. Now I use the Pro version. The Pro version is not much. That's what the Pro version looks like. It's no different than what it looks like for the free version. In the free version, the only limitation is that when you import stuff into it, you can only import like 3 layers and maybe 20 data lines in every layer, and I'll show you how it's done. But I can show you, these are all the maps that I've created for various different suburbs that I've looked at, and this is a map for Ringwood, for example. This is Frankston that I created a while back. This is Mount Waverly. If I zoom out, I can show you, this is the school zone. I actually mapped the school zone to figure out what the difference was. I actually did a full grid analysis to understand which grid was more expensive or cheaper than the other. So you can do all these stuff on it. This is Chelsea. I created this map exclusively for a bank valuation, and I shared it with the bank manager, and then he passed it on to the valuation guy. We got a really good valuation. Yeah, but I'm using a pro version, which is a $5 a month or something that you have to pay. And if you pay that, then you've got a pro version. You can create unlimited layers in here and import unlimited data in it. So because I use it that often, I use the pro version. So I've just created a new map just by clicking on create map. All it does, it brings me here, so I can say add layer. And it's still thinking about it. So it's added a layer. 1 second. So let's call this layer, for example, I'm gonna call it let's say sold properties. So that's my sold layer, and I'll just click on import. What I've done is the files that I showed you earlier, that I analyzed with you, the data that we had, I've got the same files, but I've simplified them. I've taken off all the extra sheets that were in there, which were the pivot table and the analysis and the filters. So I've taken it out so that the data is plain and simple, because if you've got all these filters on or pivot tables on, Google Maps doesn't actually import anything. So I've just simplified it, and I've renamed them to Barrick Import Sold and Barrick Import for Sale, so you guys can actually have a look at these files as well. All I do is I drag and drop these files here, bang, nothing more, and Google imports all this data in there, and all I do is I select address because that's what I want Google Maps to pick it up, the position and place marks from, and then I say okay, show me the price at the top of it, finish. And it'll take some time because I've got a lot of data in the sold section, but it will put everything on Google Maps and in a second, in maybe a few seconds. So let's just sit on tight. It's just refreshing itself, and voila, there we go. So it's got all these items here. These are the sold items, and they're all in red. Now you can keep them all in red, but what I like to do is I like to tinker with all of this. I like to style my things. I go into style, and I select type, because what it then does is it shows me house, land, townhouse, unit, and all the other bifurcation that I had in it. Now I should have deleted rural and industrial and residential just to get rid of the clutter, but it's there. But anyway, so if you wanted to change the color, you could click on this and say, I don't know, I want my houses to look, the sold ones to look in yellow. You could mark them in yellow, and you've got all of them here. You've got data labels here. You can see this is the sheet that Google Maps is actually accessing it from, and you can find something here, and it'll highlight it on the map for you. You've got labels. If you wanted to put any labels, I like the price label because I would want to see the price right at the top. So it shows me, and I can zoom in and start looking at, okay, 650. So when I click on it, I can see vendor discounting 55,000, days on the market 4. I don't know how that came about, but 4. First advertised was 6 February. The date it got sold was 10th of February. And I can look at the size of the land, ensuite, O'Brien real estate. No, it actually sold for 650. And yeah, so there's something wrong with that data here. Why is the vendor discounting coming out? I'll have to look into that data there. But you get an idea of how you can actually import this stuff on a map and have a look at it. So that will give you, so if you were looking for a particular property, let's find out a property for sale in Barrick, for example. I'll just go to realestate.com.au, Barrick, search. Actually, we can go into, remember we saved a few properties. I'll see if I saved anything for Barrick. So I can click, go into saved properties, and have a look at, okay, we had this in Barrick, so let's look at this. This was in Frankston, so I'm not going to take it out. So let's say 9S Hayland Court. This is the one with townhouses. So what I do is I, on the untitled layer, I will call that target because that's the property that I'm looking at, and I actually don't need to import anything. I'll just put the address here and click search, and it shows me where that is. So when I click on this, make sure you selected selected this layer, the target layer here, because when I click on this and I say add to map, it's gonna put it in the layer that was selected. So because I want it to stick out, I would want it to be, I don't know, maybe in black color, because nothing around it is black. So this tells me that this property is available for just 1 second. I'll see if I can make it a star. Maybe turn it off. So I've got these ones here, and the property they're asking for 650 plus with 7 townhouses. That basically gives me 650 divided by 7, gives me about 92. That means I'm paying about 93,000 plus stamp duty and legals and all that for for a single townhouse. Now I've got to figure out what my costs are, and I will go that in the 2-second phaser. But look at this. This is 5 Telford. It was a house. It was on the market for 169 days. Land was 552, and there was a 9% vendor discounting that happened here. Um, it was first advertised in June, sold in December. So days on the market were 169. So remember when we discussed, if you go through the previous videos, we discussed about days on the market, and those days on the market are like an average of the whole suburb. But this particular property, days on the market were 169. So you can have a look at all this data. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another layer, and I want to see what's on sale as well on the same map. So I'm just going to say add another layer, call this layer for sale, save that, import, and I've done the same thing. I've created a simplified Excel file without the filters and without pivot tables, so that I can import it in Google. So I click on it, I say continue, and I want to see, where's the price gone? I want to see price. I go finish. So it's going to take its while. Voila. So we've got all these. So I want to pick up a color that I haven't used at all. So I don't know, maybe like a green color or something that just quickly tells me that it's the properties that are for sale. Or I can actually go on style, go to uniform, and I'll say select type, and I can actually this time go ranges, and in my ranges I'll select the green range, and I'll just say whatever the highest range is. So it'll give me like a bifurcation. But again, maybe see, we haven't got any blue color here. Maybe we can use just shades of blue for this layer, so we know which ones are for sale. So when I zoom in, I can look at, this is the one for sale, and it's so if I'm analyzing the property that we had, so let's go to our star. Where's our star? Stars here. I would want to look at what other properties around it have sold for and for how much. This guy's asking 650, so I'm just gonna edit that, and I'm gonna put 650k plus, so that I have an idea of what that is. And labels, I'll just click, I don't know, description maybe. Yeah, so it says 9 Hill and 650k plus. So that way I know this is the property that I'm looking at. And I will look around it. Okay, 630, what was the size? 700, 595, and it's a house. So what we need to understand is figure out if it's got plans. This site's got plans and permit for 7 townhouses. So what we have to do is figure out what is each townhouse going to cost us, how big is the townhouse, what are the sizes, and then figure out, okay, if I need to sell them, for example, at least at 450. Now at 450, would somebody be interested in this area where you can actually buy a full house for 462, for example? Now this is a house, land size 780 square meters. Would somebody pay 450,000 for a townhouse when they can easily pick up a block of land within a house? Okay, not a brand new house, but maybe an old house. But a block of land would always have more development potential for future, but a lot of people don't know that, but you and I know that. But you got to ask yourself, would people pay the exact same amount to live in a townhouse, or would they actually pay for the exact same amount to get a block of land? If I was in that area, I would not buy that townhouse simply because I can spend an extra 10 grand and maybe pick up a block of land, and for future value, that's actually going to give me more value than a block of townhouse, because that's all the equity that was in there is already used up by the person who's actually selling this property. So I would be careful unless there is actually a demand for townhouses that have actually gone up. So let's say let's look at this, for example, properties for sale, and we saw that there were some properties for sale on Buchanan Road. I'll see if I can find that here. So I'll just copy that, come back here, and I'm gonna search this. So Buchanan's here. Now Buchanan probably had a couple of townhouses there, and I'm just gonna change the base map to this so I can have a better view. Now this is Buchanan. So let me just go to the target layer so that it's selected. Cancel that. Click on this. I'll go add to map. It's added. I'm gonna click this. Maybe give it a black star. Okay, black star doesn't stick out there, so maybe give it like a I don't know. Maybe give it a yellow star or something. It's up to you. And find out what's happening at Buchanan. And Buchanan, if you look at the for sale properties, Buchanan's here, and it's got townhouses, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom for sale. They wanted to sell them for 610. They had to pull back, and they're now selling for 585. They've just discounted 25,000, 4%. It went on sale on 18th of September. So I've got to find out what's going on here. So I'll click around what's happening here. Okay, there was number 20. We have the first advertised price, which was that, but look at the size of the land, 1319. So it wasn't a townhouse. Right next to it, we've got, okay, this is again the sales data probably that I'm selecting. This is for sale again. All this blue stuff is for sale because we've got the for sale layer as blue. So you can, if at the moment you hover your mouse over it, actually puts a circle around it and highlights it. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, 545. This is the closest sale that I've got to Buchanan. Now what they've got is they went on the market on 18th of October, sold on 25th of Jan, was on the market for 100 days almost. 4 bedroom, 2 house, land size 650. and there was a $40,000 discount to actually sell it for. So sold for 545,000. So you got to see there was a discount here for the 650 square meter block of land. So I would, if I was really, really interested in Barrick, I would want to drive past this and see what's really good. What strikes me is that it looks like it's close to a school. There's a tennis courts here that people enjoy. There's a cricket pitch, maybe footy ground. I'm not sure if you've got any schools here, but what you can do is you can find out the addresses of schools, and I don't know, maybe go to Wikipedia, find out the addresses of schools, and put them. I haven't done that here, but you can actually put them in Excel sheet in the same order, and add layer, and you can import them here, and maybe use a different symbol so you know where the schools are and why this property is actually more than other. So it tells me there's a lot of development happening here, already happened. Properties are on the market, and they have been on the market for a while, haven't moved. So if you're going into this area, you should know that it takes a while to actually sell something here. So yeah, but again, we have some kind of an activity center right here. Princess Highway. We've got looks like a shopping area. I haven't been to Barrick really on the insides. I just wanted to look into this suburb, and because we heard the signals, so that's what we are doing right now. So that's how you actually plant everything on this data, and this gives you immense leverage when you're trying to negotiate something, because you know exactly what's happened. You've got all the alerts, you've got all the alerts set up, that anything that goes on the market, you know when it does. But what you got to do is keep updating this map as long as you've got a project going there, and so that you've got an updated data. Because 4 weeks later, after 4 auctions, or a month later, there would be new properties that would have sold in that area, and you would have got an alert for those new properties that would have sold. But you got to then go back to your Excel sheet, maybe add another layer and add them in, or you can actually uh, go on this, click on data, and you can add them via this sheet over here. So but if you now, the other thing is that if you're using a free version, it will only let you put in 100, I think, not 20, 100 addresses. So it won't let you go beyond this point. And because I like data, I like to spend that $5. You can too. But there's no point if you haven't got access to this data. So if you ever wanted to do this kind of research for any project that you're doing, give me a call, send me an email. I can organize that for you for a fee, and that's how I do it. And what I'm going to do with this map is the map that I've created. I'm going to actually share it, and I'm going to give you a URL. So that's the URL, and I'm going to change that, make it anyone with the link can view. I'm going to save that. And that's my link to share. I'm gonna copy it, and I am going to add this to the file that you download. So anytime you want to go here, you just click on it, and it'll show you how you can have a look at this map yourself. So you can play around. So you'll have the data, and you'll have the data also planted on Google Maps. That's the end of this session.